Hello and welcome to this edition of the Player Spotlight. I'm Tyler Rowland. Always good to see you here. And with me, I'm excited to introduce my guest, the General Manager of Rupp Arena, the Central Bank Center, and the Lexington Opera House, Brian Sipe. And Brian, it's good to have you on here today. And first off, let's start a little bit talking about your background. And gosh, it's just so cool. A decade ago, of course, you were in Huntington, and did a great job with what was then the big Sandy Arena. And good. Those were good times. And talk a little bit about your background and your journey to get to where you are today.
Well, hey, I appreciate you having me on, Tyler. So, grew up working in Hershey, PA, actually. So I worked at the park in the summertime, Hershey Park, and then I was a ticket seller at the box office and did that all through college. And then after college, just knew this is kind of what I wanted to do. So I've worked in various arenas, different locations. You mentioned Huntington, West Virginia. Was there for a couple of years of my life, and was the GM at the arena downtown there in Huntington, and just worked my way over here to Lexington, where I'm blessed to be at the historic Rupp Arena, and we have a brand new $300 million convention center we manage, and then a very historic 950-seat Lexington Opera House. And so, just my background's really in booking a lot of entertainment for venues. I did ticketing for a while at a box office and moved around to a couple cities to get here. So it's been a great journey. I'm very blessed.
Managing Rupp Arena, what is it that you do in particular? Describe like a day-to-day basis for you, what your position consists of.
God, a lot of people probably question, what exactly does this guy do all day, right? But no, in all seriousness, we have 85 full-time employees, and through an organizational chart, eventually they all report up to me. I report to my boss at Oakview Group, which is the company I work for. Report to a board that the mayor here in Lexington appoints, and it's anything from finance related to marketing related to operations. What I mean by that is setting up for events or like physical plan, HVAC, and all that kind of work. So anything related in any of those departments, the booking department, our sales teams, just making sure that we're constantly generating more revenue for the city, giving the best experience we can to our guests that are visiting, whether it's people who are putting on a meeting or a dinner, or whether it's people that are putting on a concert, or our guests who are coming to that concert, making sure we're giving them the best product. And then also, trying to figure out how we can constantly stay ahead of the curve. Are we using the most technology and the best technology that's out there? Are we having the best food product for when you come? Are we environmentally sustainable in everything that we do? So basically evaluating all those processes with our team and making sure that we're hitting our benchmark.
And Brian, of course, that place is known for large-scale events that go on, concerts.
Just a couple, yeah.
Yeah, pretty good stuff. And what is it in your time here? You've been here, I remember the day you texted me and told me you were coming to Lexington, just how excited I was. I knew we'd be closer, a little closer range. And talk a little bit about your time there, and maybe maybe a great memory or a great accomplishment or something that happened during your time in Lexington.
Yeah, so been here about 5 years, and I think what I'm really proud of is the team that we've assembled here is a team that is just breaking every record that was set forth prior. We've had our highest grossing concert. We've had our fastest sellout. We're doing more convention center events than we've ever done because we have the new facility. In the Opera House, which is 50 years old, they did a major renovation in the late 70s, so it's about 50 years old. We're doing more events over there than they've ever done. So because our team is so great at marketing and booking and selling tickets and having a clean building and everything that goes into it, we're just breaking every record. And I know that I'm the general manager of the facility, but really it's the team that works with me every day that's making that stuff happen. And so whether it's a 3-night sellout of Morgan Wallen or whether it's having the largest Comic-Con we've ever had in Lexington, and they'll probably do it bigger next year. I just love being able to watch everybody grow and make things better for this area.
A lot of growth there the past few years, and of course, one of the big things, of course, a big goal too of this show. I'm talking about sports as well, and with Rupp Arena, Brian, when you organize a basketball event, say you have and I know the season's organized well in advance, but what is the process like for organizing a basketball game?
So I would say the University of Kentucky has an amazing staff. Scott Geisinger, Nathan Schwacke, and those folks who are making that event happen operationally. They are A-plus players and at the top of their game. So that, of course, helps us because I also think, as I just said, we have a great team. We do a big meeting in the summertime, just going through what our operations manual is going to be like for the next year, or any changes from prior year. What things do we need to know? Now, I would expect, because of Coach Pope arriving in Lexington, there will be some great changes, some great ideas that he has, a better, fan experience idea or something like that. But we start meeting with their team in the summertime, and then after every event, just evaluate how it went, anything we need to change. And then, of course, the KHSA tournaments are here. I know you've come down for those. And that is, Julian Tackett and Butch Cope and their teams, just fantastic people. And they know what they're doing. They've been doing it for years. Great to work with. And so it just makes our lives easier, makes everything run so smooth, because at the end of the day, we all have the same goal. We want the best experience for the players on the court. We want the best experience for the fans in the seats. So with those two ideas, those two tenets, that's how we make our decisions. Is it a better experience for the players on the court? Better experience for a fan in the seat?
Let's break those down a little bit, too. Let's talk first off about the KHSAA state tournament and what an event that is. Just having, like you said, having had the opportunity to have been there the past few years. I mean, it's honestly like the atmosphere is something. I'll never forget the first moment, like coming there with Dickie Martin in 2021 and walking out onto that court. There's just like, I don't know how to describe it, like when it comes to just like the feeling of being at Rupp Arena. And talk about that tournament. And of course, Julian Tackett, who's been in his position for, I think, around 14, 15 years, of course, has helped grow the KHSAA, and talk about that and help grow sports around the state, and talk about that and how and what that process is like with the state tournament.
Well, so I mean, I'm lucky. I inherited the state tournament, so I mean, it had already been going on at Rupp Arena. Already had the legacy of what a great tournament it was. Julian and I just solidified last week. Even, we want to keep the boys and the girls tournament at Rupp Arena for a long, long time, and it's a successful tournament for both the boys and the girls. We think it's important that both the boys and the girls play there. And so, I for the long time foreseeable future, I think that's going to happen there. My interaction with Julian is he's a visionary. He has the best interests of the players in mind, those high school athletes. And he's just, I'm sure there's tough decisions he has to make daily, some that a lot that I don't know about, but good man of integrity, and so it's a privilege for me to get to work with him. And I just think they run a great tournament. I mean, I have not heard one person say a negative word about their experience coming to the tournament, and so I think that's a legacy that he's gonna cement for one day when he decides he doesn't want to do it anymore.
Yes, and that's one of the crazy things about it, too, because this year was a great example of it, Brian, because you look at the state finals, and because Kentucky, I think Kentucky's the only state. I remember I used to be two, and now I think Kentucky's the only one that doesn't go by classes for sports. So it's not like you don't have big school classes, small school classes, and then here you get two teams from Eastern Kentucky, which often, but like Harlan County, that does, which typically Eastern Kentucky hasn't been to the finals as much. Neither has Western Kentucky in some capacities. And then you get a 1A school in the smallest class that wins it all. Like you said, there's just something about that tournament, and Julian, what a job he's done with that, and let's talk about.
And
of course,
I was going to say one other thing, Tyler, is look at the talent that's coming out of that tournament. That's going on to play college ball. I mean, didn't we all see Reed Shepherd on that court with KHSA 2 years ago, and then we saw Reed Shepherd on that court with UK this year, and now Reed Shepherd will play in the NBA. I mean, it is. There is so much talent in this state. When you go watch that tournament, you're watching future high-level collegiate and then eventually NBA players.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, a really good point. Because now it's cool to think we'll have two guys on that court. The three's going to the NBA, but now and then Travis Terry and now Trent Noah, Harlan County, committed to UK. So unbelievable, exciting times for the program. And you mentioned Mark Pope, and I can't wait to hear your perspective on just with that, because I know you had to do that just on the fly, and I'm sure you probably had that happen a time or two over your career, but to organize an event of this magnitude, that's the thing, that event, that's just something I feel like that's always going to be remembered. Talk about what that was like, because at first, I mean, you just hear UK's hired Coach Pope. Then it's like I read that, there's going to be a small ceremony coming up for him. And then the next thing you know, you've got like 20,000 people filling the arena.
Yeah, it was great because I think it really highlighted how good the people are that are planning events that live here in this city. And so, our team and the university had 5 days. I think we started talking on Wednesday morning, maybe. Now I'm sure there were talks before that, but as a cohesive, as a group on Zoom. And that event happened on Sunday at 4:30. And yeah, you're right. We had 15,000 people at Rupp Arena, to see Coach Pope, walk off that bus and then take some questions from the press. And the atmosphere, the excitement, I mean, it was off the charts. And, it was, so the fortunate part, unfortunate is for us at Rupp Arena, it had to be on that Sunday because we had country singer Cody Johnson at Rupp Arena Friday. We had a UK event on Saturday night already booked, and then we started loading in Disney on Ice on Monday. So if we did not do it on that Sunday, we would have had to wait until Disney on Ice was out. And I think everyone agreed that Rupp Arena was the place that needed to be, and we wanted it to be there. I mean, I know I wanted it to be there. I think it would be special. So, again, it's just, one of those moments where you step back and thank the Lord that it all worked out well. But it did, and we threw it together, and it was a great event, and kudos to everybody at the university for being able to make that work, because they're all A-plus players, and I'm not just saying that to blow smoke or anything like that. I mean, to be able to pull something of that magnitude off means you have top-notch people working for you.
Yes, and that's a good point. And gosh, just to see, what was your reaction like? Where were you like when you saw the 96 players come off that bus?
I was actually down by the bus. I was on the floor right by the bus, and it's one of those goosebump kind of moments right? This is one time only. This is never going to happen again. And so just to be there, be in it, hear the people screaming, the excitement, I have not personally met the coach yet, but anyone on our team who has or who has worked with the university, it has been all positive. I'm very excited to see what happens this next season. I think Coach Pope, everyone's telling me he's just a great overall. He's a great guy, great personality. I mean, you pay attention to this too, Tyler. I mean, the recruits. I mean, it's every day we're announcing an all-star recruit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it's I just think it's a great moment. I'm excited for the fans to be excited at Rupp Arena next year.
Yes, it's definitely a big change, and he's just going to play a style of ball. His team I think they shoot right around 33s a game. They're definitely going to be shooting the ball. He's got some guys that can sure do that too. And and when it comes to the success Brian, that you've had, and I'm not just talking about at UK. I mean, you're talking about at Rupp. I mean, going back to just the prior, because that's when I saw you in Huntington and what you were doing. I mean, I just deeply admired how you've had everything, just so well put together. And I mean, you've won awards. You've been, featured a lot. Talk about a quality that you feel like is something that you strive to be every day.
Well, I appreciate all those comments. That's very nice. I think for me, one of the most important things is, and especially with some of our younger employees that we have, because I'm 40 years old. So, I try to tell folks who are coming and working for us, either fresh out of college or in their, mid-20s, early 30s, you can lose out on a deal. You can lose, you can do something that, short term, maybe you don't make the money. The thing you'll never get back, though, is your reputation. And so in everything that you do, be upfront and honest, even if it's short term, costs you something, even if it puts you in a bad spot, even if you got to deliver bad news. If you have to deliver bad news, but you're honest in doing it, people will respect that. And I think for me, what I try to do is, even if I can't give somebody the answer they want, even if I can't make a deal they want, even if I got to deliver news that isn't great, just be honest about it, because at least then that person knows when they have a conversation with you, they're not going to get BS'd about something. And so I just think that's vitally important that people know, especially this day and age. That's just something that you can earn a reputation back, but it takes a lot longer than if you just have a good reputation with somebody.
Yeah, especially you've got social media now, and you get, for example, just off the top of my head, someone has a bad experience at a restaurant. That gets around more than it would have in, say, the 1990s. And
right, yeah,
it definitely applies. And yeah, Brian, some questions to get to know you better personally. We'll start out, first off, gosh, you got a lot of places in Lexington, Well, the cool thing about it, I'll say, too, because I remember when we met for dinner up there one time, and there's just so many places that are local. And talk about where are some places you like, and any particular favorite food you have.
So Lexington, if you're in Lexington, gosh, I don't want to insult anybody by not naming them first, but I will tell you, Carson's is fantastic, Malone's is fantastic, Cole's 735 on Main is fantastic, Giuseppe's is fantastic, Bellanote. OBC Kitchen. There are a lot of fantastic places to eat in Lexington. Probably one of the things that drew me here, but it's a great town. No matter what kind of food you want, we got it. So I love it.
That's awesome, and of course, I know it's. I don't think we could have a conversation together without talking about wrestling. And of course,
wrestling. That's right.
hard to believe that trip to the Royal Rumble was a decade ago. And
I was just, well, not only that, but it's hard to believe we survived. I thought we were going to fall off I-70 or whatever we were on.
Yeah.
Remember how treacherous that road was?
Oh man, it was. Yeah, we got a big snow that day and made it up there, and then it was like, yeah, it's such a unique, like, it doesn't receive positive reviews, but I think back and I'm like, then again, I just think it's kind of really cool how the crowd hijacked the event.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so and Brian, who would be in terms of your, because I know you've organized some WWE events, who over the years, and this don't just have to be today, this could be something, you know, from, because me personally, I'm a big 80s guy. Who would be your favorite wrestlers, or do you have kind of a Mount Rushmore of wrestlers, so to speak, that you admire?
Yeah, that's hard. Mount Rushmore wise, I'm gonna say it's got to be Hogan, Stone Cold, The Rock, Shawn Michaels. I mean, I'd say those have got to be that's my Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, they're definitely those four.
I mean, you know what? Here's the thing: Mount Rushmore needs to be like 50 presidents, so I can have 50 wrestlers. If not Shawn Michaels, John Cena. I mean, but again, I could have an argument for an hour about, you know, who should be up there. So.
Oh yeah, it's hard. So many greats. You look at. I've been lately watching a lot on Andre the Giant, and I'm a huge fan. Just what he had to go through, especially in his later years. But gosh, yeah, that's a great four to have there, though. And what type of music do you personally like to listen to?
Yeah, 90s country or like 60s music. That's kind of my two go-to. So if it's not Garth Brooks and Kenny Chesney and Reba McEntire, then I'm listening to the Beatles and Herman's Hermits and Paul Anka and Leslie Gore. So, yeah, and then, I mean, my two favorite artists of all time, gosh, I gotta say, is probably Tina Turner and Barry Manilow. So try to make sense out of that, Tyler. I can't, but that's my musical taste there. So.
That's awesome. Oh, I don't blame you at all, man. There's some good stuff. Personally, a lot of the music I listen to, 60s, 70s, 80s. And what about your favorite movie?
Gosh, of all time, you know, this is one of those things that it's like answering your favorite TV show, right? There's just so many good ones. I mean,
you can name multiple.
I was going to say, The Patriot with Mel Gibson is probably one of my favorites, which is basically Braveheart, but the American Revolution version. And, yeah, I mean, any Marvel movie. I'm one of those Marvel guys. I got to see them all when they come out in the theater. You got to see a Marvel movie in the theater, or it's not the same. So I say probably anything Marvel.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And looking at looking at something to get to know you better. What's the cool fact about yourself? Maybe something that a lot of people don't know.
Oh, goodness. Well, you did bring up wrestling, so I will tell you, I go to WrestleMania every year. Been doing that for almost 10 years now. 30 was my first, but I skipped one. But, yeah, go to WrestleMania every year. Interesting fact. And then, gosh, man, I don't know what else to say that's like intriguing. That's not what somebody else, you know, would. I mean, I would just say again, I'm blessed. You know, I have a beautiful wife who teaches fourth grade and you know, keeps me sane and dressed well. And yeah, you know, just God has blessed me, man. I have a great life, and I'm so thankful to Him for that.
Awesome. Last question, Brian. Any shout-outs you'd like to give?
Well, Tyler, when you come into Lexington again, I know you were here for KHSA. We didn't get to really connect, but when you coming over?
Oh, we're going to make it happen. In fact, this month, I would say for sure.
All right, sweet. Let's do it. Yeah, I mean, honestly, no real shout outs. But yeah, I appreciate your time. And thank you for asking me to come on and asking me some questions. And yeah, man, you're a good soul, man. I appreciate having you as a friend.
Oh, you too, Brian, and I always appreciate you. A lot of great memories there, many more to come. And I want to say thank you all and thank you, Brian, for being on the show, and thank you all for tuning in and listening today. I finally said listening. That's the first time I didn't say. I'm so used to saying watching.
That's right.
Yeah. We want to say thank you all for tuning in and listening today to this audio edition of the Player Spotlight. God bless you, and we will see you soon. Good night, everybody.